Hello, everyone. You should be working on your Where I'm From poem. And at this point, you should have already read a few examples, one from the original author and a couple from other people who used that original poem as a mentor text and created their own with their own specific details. And then the part one of the brainstorming you should have done, where you did this chart and hopefully you have a minimum, bare minimum, 15 ideas across these different prompts to try to get you going and thinking about all the things that have been important to your life and contributed to who you are. And if you need that example, don't forget you can click on this. You've got my example here. And now you should be ready to start really getting these details creative. So for part two, that's what your assignment is for today. It says, when writing this poem, it is important to use your creativity to include interesting and unique details that reflect you and your story. Below lists interests, things, ideas, people that are important to you, and creative ways that you could use to represent them. These should be details that you might include in your poem. So when you come up here and you find, I'm guessing that some of them might be jumping off the page more than others, things that you're like, wow, if I'm going to write a poem about who I am and where I come from, the ones that you're like, I really want to make sure I include these. And then you're going to take it down here and figure out how can you creatively share that idea. So for example, if something that is really close to you, your mom would always take care of the house for you. You might be creative in having in your poem smelling Tide detergent, bounce dryer sheets, shout cleaning spray, the Power of Pine Sol commercial, or anything like that. I have my full example here. So if you want to see more, I've got it there. I have it right here. That's a little bit bigger. So I grew up in the 70s, and I think that's a pretty big part of who I am. And one way that I could use to represent growing up in the 70s is shag carpeting and paneled walls. Now that I'm thinking about it, I should probably put orange shag carpeting. That's very 70s decor. I'm also pretty proud of my Lithuanian descent, and I thought, how can I share that? And so I put, my grandmother used to make these pickles, and they would be in a crock. They'd have to let them ferment for like a week or something. And it was always a really good memory to reach your hand in the crock and pull out a pickle. I'm also thinking about there was a time that they had to sneak out of Lithuania because the people were not allowing the young people leaving their country when my grandmother left. And so that might be it's a story that's told in my family over and over again. That might be something I'd want to put in there. My sister is super important to me, and I spent some time visiting her at college. I'm not sure how to, I haven't quite figured out how to creatively represent that, but I have it down on my brainstorm sheet to try to come up with something. I grew up in a really, really old house, and so that might be something that it was a 3-story house, including a basement, or in addition to a basement. So I'm wondering, I might want to mention, 4-story. Creepy attic, and like you're going to see that not all of your ideas just pop right out of your head. You have to kind of slow down and think about it. And you can see that I kind of go back and forth and move on to a different idea and then go back. When I was a kid, I was a crazy person for candy. We had a candy store down the block. Spent all my extra money on candy. A specific candy that I ate a lot is Pixie Sticks. It's like that powder and the sticks. Maybe I'll mention that. And I was able to stay out without having to check in so much. It was a long time ago. As soon as the street lights came on, that was time for me to come home. And so when it was summertime, I wouldn't have to come home till like 9:30 or 10 o'clock. Those are all things that I think I might want to put in my poem. Not sure. They might not all make them. But I'm just trying to be really creative in the ways that I would want to represent these things that are super important to me. That's all you need to do today. Tomorrow we'll work on the rough draft. But I want you to, come up with some ideas for this first. Good luck.